All right, a big one for the Minnesota Vikings Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks, a 9-2 operation. Welcome back to Vikings Game Plan. Paul Allen joined by Ron Johnson, Vikings Game Day Live, and local comedian, VEN contributor, and from Vikings.com, it is our pleasure to welcome Cy Amundson to the winning formula. And we begin like this, because when you're playing Seattle, a lot of good players, good record, but look at that right there, specifically the clamshell roofs designed to trap sound into CenturyLink. Ron, the 12s, the home field advantage, it's daunting.
Yeah, and it gets loud, and Kirk Cousins has been there, which is good, but guys like BC Johnson, guys that haven't experienced this, we know that Kirk loves to yell Sunday, Sunday, which is letting the team know, hey, I'm ready for the snap, so the next call is going to be the time for the snap. They won't be able to hear that. So how do they get away with that? You're going to have to go silent counts. You're going to have to go hand signals. That's going to be the key for BC Johnson, Laquan Treadwell. I think Stephon Diggs should be okay, but some of these newer guys, Irv Smith, some of these newer young guys that have to look over to Kirk to get the hand signals to what's going on, they're going to have to be dialed in the entire game.
2006, Paul, I'm visiting my sister in Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Amtrak home because I'm a dumb, poor college kid. Sitting on the train, and I hear this explosion.
Yeah.
Thunder rolls underneath us. No kidding, the Amtrak train shakes. I grab the woman's arm next to me, and out loud, like a child, go, "Oh my God, we're gonna die." She had an earpiece in. She goes, "Oh no, sweetie, Matt Hasselbeck just threw a game-winning touchdown."
Whoa.
It is like, I know we love the bank. There's no place like it in the NFL.
Yeah.
But here's my point. Everybody's worried about that. Every fan I talk to is worried about that. I know you're worried about that with sound, but what better way? I don't care about Washington. I don't care about the Giants. What better way to prepare for a possible road game NFC Championship than playing the best team in the toughest environment? And the players think that too. We had Jaleel Johnson on our podcast 3 weeks ago. He was already psyched for this game.
Yeah. Well, we, you know, in preparation for the winning formula, perhaps we didn't prepare Ron the right way for all the left arm touching that was going to take place. So let's move on to, on the field, something that definitely is a factor. It's that guy. Number 3 on his jersey, number 1 in the hearts of Seattle Seahawks fans. Ron, it's Russell Wilson. As we saw earlier with film, he runs and he throws.
Yeah, so this is going to be a game where we've seen in film study earlier, when you spy him, you have to understand what you're spying and what's going to happen. So if you send Anthony Barr, the Thanos of linebackers who can take your quarterback out with one snap of his finger, he has to be aware of Russell Wilson does not always run. He just wants to move around in the pocket to create space. Yeah. The second key is when he gets out of the pocket, it's the second play. If you're in a zone or 2-man, don't cover grass. Plaster the nearest guy. We saw DK Metcalf had 15 yards circumference of space around him with nobody near him and 3 defensive backs just standing around wondering who's going to cover him. Go cover somebody. So if you're Mackenzie Alexander, if you're Jaron Kearse, if you're Mike Hughes, whoever's in the game, if Russell Wilson gets to moving, he's not your guy. Let your linebackers and everybody else worry. You go find a receiver, because those receivers know, hey, when Russell moves, we're still an option, so let's keep moving to get open. And so that's going to be the key to this game. Plaster a DB when Russell gets out the box.
Cy, let me guess, now a reference of when you met an uncle in Seattle and you almost drowned in the Puget Sound. What's happening?
There's no way I can sound as smart as Ron sounded right there, but I'll come at it from the fan perspective. You know, fans and analysts love to compare quarterbacks. Is Lamar the next Mike Vick? Is this person the next Tom Brady? I think we like to talk about Russ and Fran Tarkenton. I think the one we're missing, the way Russ is playing right now, is exactly the way Aaron Rodgers was playing when he came into his prime, and you hit it on the head. It's when everything breaks down and he creates that second play, he can absolutely leave you in tears at the end of the game.
Now, Ron, in fairness with Russell Wilson, you know, in his 3 against Mike Zimmer, as you just saw graphically, 162 passing yards per game through 3. Now, 5 TDs, but how are the Vikings managing that?
So they are doing a good job, but the penalties. So he's moving down the field based off penalties. We know Xavier Rhodes had handsy issues. We know the refs, whenever you're at home, they like to be a little bit nicer to the receivers if they're getting bumped around. But a big guy like DK Metcalf is going to be a LeBron James-esque guy where the refs might not give him some of those calls. So that's the key. You can't let him penalty you down the field.
Okay, now speaking of DK Metcalf, he's a legitimate wild card in this game, as is that guy, Rashad Penny. The penny came up like a full dollar bill against Philadelphia, and Tyler Lockett. So everybody comes to see Russell, But Ron, they have some wild cards in this offense you need to pay attention to.
Yeah, Rashad Penny so far, 50 attempts, almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, one coming last week in that 129-yard game versus the Eagles. And so they have guys like that where if it's not Chris Carson, it could be Rashad Penny. If it's not Tyler Lockett, it could be DK Metcalf. But Rashad Penny, what he does is in the screen game, he's a third down back. He's a guy that, as you saw, he can make you miss and he can run.
Okay.
So Eric Kendricks, we know he's a great sideline to sideline back. He's going to have to be on his A game. You cannot miss tackles because if you miss tackles, he's out the gate.
I know that I'm supposed to pick somebody like Tyler Lockett or DK, the Metcalf. LeBron James of football, Metcalf, as Ron Johnson has permanently described him. You guys are going to be mad at me for this. I think the sneaky wild card might be Josh Gordon.
Oh, that's great.
Now, I know he's got 4 catches in 3 games, but I watched the whole Niners game. 2 of them were 2. I mean, I do have a problem with wagering against my best friends.
Okay.
But he had 2 of the biggest third down catches of the game. And I think one of the things the Vikings haven't seen a lot this year, and when we have seen it, we've struggled, is 3 deep receiving cores. Randall Cobb got to us. As the season goes on, Josh Gordon is going to be the safety valve.
Well, I think that went perfectly, Cy.
Thank you.
And
He's the Michael Jordan of football.
Yeah, the reason I do is a couple of things. A, Cy Amundson comes in looking like the bass player for a Jimi Hendrix cover band going back to Seattle, the home of Jimi Hendrix. And also, what more do you want on a team television show than a wagering reference? So with that, we say goodbye. For local comedian, VEN contributor, and Vikings.com Cy Amundson, Ron Johnson, Vikings Game Day Live, Fox 9. I'm Paul Allen. Go Vikings! Get that 9th victory so we have something good to talk about on Vikings Game Plan when we next meet.